Well, this is sort of a simple but good explanation of what we're looking at here.
What are demons? Genocide
IRS workers.
beings stepping into human life in a way that breaks everything. They cross boundaries, they take human women, and the children from that union are called the Nephilim.
And some of them are women nowadays, especially here in Miami. Anyway, as the topic of demons, it's something that I think is definitely getting a lot more attention than usual, as we have Nick Fuentes recently coming out and specifically describing how he saw a lot of weird devil worship, eyes wide shut type of stuff when he was hanging out with Kanye, who struggles with his own forms of addiction, which Milo Yiannopoulos and Tucker Carlson actually addressed and talked about on their recent podcast, specifically when it comes to addiction being explained by demonic possession. While there are other UFOologists like Dr. Stephen Greer that are coming out and saying, hey, you know those UAPs, those are entities that aren't really demons because they don't really need drones. He makes some very interesting, compelling arguments, as of course a lot of people conflate a lot of the spiritual stuff with the UFOologist stuff, and we're going to get into some of the interesting debates as Dr. Stephen Greer is pushing against this type of notion of these type of supernatural religious phenomenons that are taking place in our modern day society. If you appreciate these deep down the rabbit hole conversations, subscribe, click the notification button right now, as we greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, for me, in my own personal opinion, just so you know where I'm coming from, I do believe demons are real. I saw demons in my own personal life. I saw demonic possession. I've talked about it previously on my videos. I think this is a very important topic to talk about. I had very interesting conversations with Tucker Carlson at the main stage of the TP USA event. I'm so pissed we're not doing that again. Where we literally talked about this, and Tucker Carlson came out and talked about his understanding of it, specifically with how the government interacts with demons, which some people call UFOs. I just talked to Catherine Austin Fitz, and she described a situation where the government was saying, hey, do you want to have dinner with some UFOs? And some people are saying those UFOs are demons. Now, I do believe that there's a lot more to our physical, energetic world and spectrum, as there's different wavelengths and different energies that we interact with, and I bet there's also other ones that we have no idea about. Now, I think it's also very indicative that a lot of people, specifically who are dealing with addictions, a lot of people who commit heinous acts, a lot of people who literally talk about how they sold their soul to the devils, talk about and do specific rituals and actions and activities, especially when you get into the upper echelons of many secret societies. You get into the kind of Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, you get into some weird type of practices, spirit cooking, and other stuff that really does signal how a lot of the elites and evil people in this world do communicate and interact with demons. It's something that's real, as Nick Fuentes opened up a little bit about this when he talked to Steven Crowder.
I remember that monologue well because I saw a lot of this satanic occult stuff. I'm talking about like Pizzagate stuff. Like, we have to acknowledge there are a lot of people.
Now, I think the whole Pizzagate stuff was a psyop, personally. I think it was meant, and as well as the QAnon stuff, I think it was meant to undermine real legitimate questioning of people. Because what better way? Cass Sunstein, Obama's information czar, kind of literally wrote the blueprint on propaganda during the Obama administration, and he talked about, we got to make sure that there's going to be fake information out there. We got to make sure that we muddy the waters. We got to make sure that we get crazy people to come out and say the craziest things to make everyone questioning legitimate things real. Now, Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, Spirit Cooking, all that stuff is real, and that's the stuff we know about. Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut stuff, as of course Kubrick was pissed, and then he just mysteriously, no longer here with us on this earth. After making a movie about this that a lot of people say is extremely heavily edited.
In the elite that are straight up devil worshippers. I firmly believe in this like eyes wide shut kind of thing that does happen. I don't think it's necessarily a grand conspiracy, but
no, there's spiritual warfare for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of those types of people out there, especially in like Hollywood. I saw it up close and personal when I was with Ye, and I just hate that stuff so much.
Wait a second.
And
Now, Crowder asks him to kind of verify his claims here, and I thought what Nick said, it was interesting. But personally, listen, I know some like musicians, and throughout the years I've met and hung out with, I hate even saying celebrities, but like pretty up there people, people on top of the charts, people in all the movies you see. And throughout my years of this, I'm very inquisitive. I ask, I'm like, what's going on? What's this? What's this? Oh, did you do this? What's the, oh, this signature? What's going on here? Tell me about tell me about this ritual. Tell me about what else is going on here. And I've been filled in, and almost all of the most popular, biggest musicians, biggest stars, always have to make some kind of deal, saying, yeah, I'll sign a deal with the devil. They usually pay a very heavy price for it, their soul or their loved one, and then they become super famous. And then when those people who are trying to deviate and get out of those specific things, sometimes they contact me, but they have pressure from a lot of the top, like there's top celebrities calling people like, how dare you promote Jesus Christ? How dare you promote Christianity? And there are a lot of very powerful people that are in this world that do believe in demons, that do practice demonic spiritual forms of warfare, and you see it everywhere. And the music industry is the most prevalent because that's how you're able to kind of brainwash people subliminally, subconsciously. The movie industry, the Hollywood industry, filled with it, right? Before playing the rest of the clip with Crowder and Nick and the Tucker clip and the Kanye clip, because there's Kanye talking about how demons have attacked him, Tucker talking about how demons have attacked him. Before going into all that and a lot more, just really quickly check out thebestpoliticalshirts.com. It's my shirt store that I had to open up after I was demonetized. And then BuzzFeed decided to attack our store and they got our shirt store taken down. We got it back up. Why did they take it down? For this specific shirt that we have here. That makes a great... This is a sweater that we have here that says Christmas lights are like Epstein. They don't hang themselves. Yeah. The shirt that I'm wearing right now, it says Normies and Me. Normies filled with 72% seed oils. Me filled with protein, freedom, caffeine, indignation, sovereignty, and Riz. The Riz is in the perfect place right there. If you want to find it, I believe you could type in seed oil into the search bar right here. And bada bing, yeah, you type in seed oil. And the shirt is available right here. Definitely sparks up a lot of very interesting conversations. Go wear these shirts out there at the bar, at the clubs. You will get a lot of attention, a lot of good conversations. And truly, one of the best ways to do your forms of lazy activism, but more importantly, to express yourself and to let people know that, hey, there's a different reality out there that is possible. That isn't just the demonic one, an evil one that you could repel and push back against. Now, here's the rest of this clip that I think is worth paying attention to, and then we're going to play some Kanye and Tucker Carlson.
Wait, I want to give you the answer, but what do you mean you saw it up close? Were you at an Eyes Wide Shut party with Ye?
no, I wasn't at a party, but, you know, being with him, you see, like with Balenciaga, they did that at Balenciaga.
Okay, all right.
They had that like S&M teddy bear, and there's things like that. It's like a wink and a nod to basically just evil, just straight up evil. And
you see that in all like the top biggest businesses, industries, celebrities, musicians.
So no, that they always do this. I do a show every night, as you know, and you sometimes get whipped up and you say something like that. So I don't know that I have a policy of like when I get in charge, I'm going to give everyone the death penalty. But suffice to say, the people that are involved in that kind of stuff, they can't be negotiated with. It's not going to be a power sharing agreement with people that worship Moloch and Baal and the Epsteins and who is it, the Podestas. Like those people are going to have to be like imprisoned or something like that, because that stuff just makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, how do you deal with something like that? Well, it's a form of spiritual warfare. Now, Milo Yiannopoulos responded to this clip because Milo also worked with Ye. Ye and Nick worked on Ye's election campaign, I guess you could say that, but they also advised them, did marketing with them, worked for him one-on-one. And Milo says he never saw any such thing anywhere near Ye. He worked for me, and 2 weeks before, I fired him for bringing his best mate, Ali Alexander Akbar, a predator who preys on underage men, boys, on board. He now sees Ye maybe twice a year. Everyone at Yeezy utterly despises him. And then he sent a letter from Milo to Ali and to Nick Fuentes, showing some of the receipts here. Now, Ye specifically talked about how Satan, quote, destroyed his family. Now, he also talks about an addiction where he likes to literally just nonstop play on repeat online adult content, even in front of random people. And there's multiple stories of him literally like putting it on his cell phone in front of like business meetings with like Adidas, which is super weird and creepy, but does highlight someone who probably is under some kind of demonic possession.
I love God, I love family, I love my family. My family has been destroyed by Satan. Period. You know, we want to pinpoint human beings, but it's time for us to love. It's time for us to hug each other. Let me show you this image that I made that I'm working on right now.
Now, very interesting statements, right? Satan, quote, destroyed my family. John Rich also recently came out and talked about how Sean Diddy Combs was bragging about controlling young kids. And he says, what you're seeing there is, quote, a demonic possessed man. And a lot of these rappers, undercover brothers, freak off people that are in this type of physical addiction realm where they are, in my personal opinion, serving up and working on behalf of the demons. There's also multiple stories of a lot of music artists and performers who are told, you want the deal? You want the record deal? You want to be famous? You want me to make you famous? One, we're going to own you in a legal way. Two, you're going to go in the back room, there's going to be cameras, and there's going to be a bunch of dudes, and you're going to spit shine your way into the top of the music industry or the Hollywood industry. And then we're going to film all of it, right? And then you misbehave and you don't promote a certain procedure. You don't promote certain BLM initiatives. You don't support Kamala Harris. We got the blackmail on you. We're going to release it. And your whole tough rap persona, hip-hop industry, I think, is the most insidious. Like, especially when it comes to the degeneracy that they promote and the ideas that they implement in young people's minds subliminally. Now, most people don't even understand it anymore because it's like mumble rap. It's like a toothless grandma just trying to like autistically screech at you, and it's like, what? What do? And I'm like, this is horrible. I don't like listening to any of it because there is an effect that you feel by it. There's scientific studies talking about the power of like classical music, and then there's destructive music, which has very negative effects. You look at those studies done specifically with like rice and how rice looks, or how sand looks, or how plants grow, depending on their environment and the music that's around them. I think that matters spiritually, energetically, consciously. And when you see a lot of people who are possessed, there's a reason AA uses religion, right? There's also lots of people talking about how people under schizophrenia are people who are in this kind of middle passageway. This is the theory out there. I'm not saying it's true, but this is the theory out there that they're in this kind of passageway where they're talking to some of the spiritual kind of entities out there, in and out, that are that their mind is like tweaked in a way where they're able to kind of interact, and that's why they're hearing voices, because they're hearing and seeing these angels and demons that are kind of all around them. And then some people talk about how when there are religious practices followed with those people, the demons kind of go away. And that's the type of thinking that Tucker Carlson has been presenting to a lot of people. And there are multiple stories when people bring up Jesus Christ that demons kind of flee, and personal experiences that people have. Joe Rogan, we did a whole video about this a couple days ago, talked about how his wild dream, in my opinion, was most likely a demonic possession. Tucker Carlson, similar thing. He got scratched up in the middle of the night, talking about how a demon scratched him.
To anything. Oh, yeah. Okay, big time.
Milo just asked, have you ever been kind of addicted to anything? He says,
So,
yeah.
you know, there's that moment when your mind is flooded and it's all you can think about.
Yes.
And it's all that you can, you got to get it out, because if you don't do a line or have a smoke or do something, if you don't get it out, it's just going to be all that you can think about for the rest of the day. It's just driving you crazy because it floods your mind.
Yeah.
I've been addicted to one or two little things, you know. And I realized my sex worked the same way.
Yeah, I believe that.
I realized that when I was on a plane, I'm sitting down, hey, team 1A, I'm sitting on the plane. I'm like, yeah, I'll have a gin and tonic, girl. And then, you know, like a basketball player, well, not a basketball player, they're all gay nerds, but, you know, like a football player would sit next to me. Like it would take hold of me. There were times I had to like go to the bathroom and like, you know,
Yeah.
because I had to get rid of it because it was taking hold of my mind.
It sounds like a demon.
Yeah, because it's what it is. I joke, I say Gorgoroth, the semen demon, you know.
I never heard it called it that way. But listen, a lot of people struggle with these demons. Like, I physically saw a demonic possession in somebody, and it was like one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. Someone I knew, someone that was close to me, boom, different eyes, different voice, different maneuvers with their body language changed, their voice changed, their eyes changed, snapped. Before that, it was screaming, and then snap. Cool, calm, collected. Stuff like this is real, and I believe in it, and I believe that's why there needs to be such an important conversation about this particularly, as Tucker Carlson has been talking about how a lot of the UFOs are, quote, angels and demons, and says that the U.S. government is hiding these, quote, spiritual entities from the general public. Now enters Stephen Greer, that says religious believers are manipulating UFOlogy, and he believes that this is, quote, the perfect way to start a holy war in space. As of course he's saying, no, these are actual aliens, they're not demons, they're not spiritual creatures, they're not angels, they're not from the Bible, they're not from the Book of Enoch. They're otherworldly, outside of this planet creatures, and if we keep calling them demons, we're going to get into a major fight. And then he kind of came to the conclusion, why do demons or angels need, quote, flying saucers? Which is a good question. I think there's a reality where I think, you know, if we're going to be hypothetical, both are true. There's angel demons, and then there's other alien outside world forces, and then they kind of parallel in the kind of different energetic realms that all of us are kind of privy to and coexisting in.
And of course, all of this is designed to create the specter of fear as a psychological conditioning for the whole war of the worlds and conflict that this transnational criminal organization that's kept this secret for 80 years is trying to do. That has been their overarching strategy since the 1950s, and we know this. So this is just one example of it. Now, the more another recent example of it, which is of great national security concern, I want to address.
A great national security concern.
Many of you know that.
Now, let's just say the aliens come out. Everyone's demons. That's not the best way to introduce B-Barb here. So if we're going to be acting on what he's saying, okay, there's a point there. Now, personally, I still believe in angels and demons. That doesn't mean aliens exist or doesn't exist, right? That doesn't negate the fact of the question of aliens.
Back a couple years ago, there was a talk show host on Fox and then subsequently later on X named Tucker Carlson, who got gaslit by some people who are religiously oriented with the ET or...
Now, obviously, there's a religious understanding of it, clearly.
UAP UFO issue. They convinced him that the UFOs were not from other star systems, but from other dimensions, and that they were agents of Satan.
And then Greer saying, hey, this is bad. He went on and expanded his
You don't
point.
understand this cosmology, you're not going to know what's what out there. You're not going to know whether it's a man-made UFO, an interstellar UFO, ET craft that's transdimensional, or if it's some other phenomenon that's from another dimension, which exists. All right. So there are things that are from other dimensions that can pop into this, and have an effect in this. This is like poltergeist, right? Or other phenomenon, which I have observed as an emergency doctor quite up close and personally. But that's not the same as a trans-dimensional interstellar spacecraft with people on it. Now, anyone with a scintilla of education should know this. I hate to be blunt. And when I was at the Vatican with Pope John Paul's senior theologian, Monsignor Balducci, and he was actually a demonologist, which I didn't even know such a thing existed. I wasn't raised in that tradition. And he said very flat out, and it was very hilarious. He said, neither angels nor demons require flying saucers. He put it so simply.
And listen, they kind of don't. But what is it? What do you think is really going on here? Let me know. Is it angels, demons? Is it other kind of creatures, entities out there? Is it interdimensional creatures? Is it creatures outside of this world? Is it creatures maybe down below in the water with their own type of secret Atlantis type of civilization? What do you think is really going on here? Let me know down in the comment section below. We got a bunch of UFO t-shirts too. Just type in UFO in the search bar. We got so many t-shirts. Get them now. Support independent media and support yourself. Speak up. Life is short. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearejames.